Hey guys, first and foremost, let's get this out of the way. I'm gonna try to get through this video without crying. I've cried about this horse, all like happy, that's my dog, all happy tears, all good things, but I have just like cried about this horse and this journey so much over the last week. I got home from the Retired Racehorse Project yesterday, and it was exactly what I needed and everything I like wanted from that horse, and I am just so proud of him and what I've learned and what he's learned, and I'm just really freaking happy. And I got off after my ride and literally just like burst into tears. I was like, that was perfect. That was everything I wanted and more. I went in with very little expectations. Like, I know that I have a good horse, but it was a really big environment and I had no expectations. I was like, if we can get both leads, it's fine. We got both leads. I ended up scoring a 65% on my USDF training 2, and then the demo was out of 60, and I believe that I got a 45 on that. So I'm thrilled. Like, that was exactly what I wanted. Could not have asked for any better. And I ended up placing 46th out of, I believe, 104 horses. So very, like, middle of the pack, which is fine because he's only 4, and 3 weeks ago we didn't have a right lead. And like I said, I am just like so proud of this horse and the work that both of us have put in and the heart and the soul and everything that this horse has given me. Like, he has just consistently been perfect. And I'm just really overcome with a lot of positive emotions, and I'm incredibly grateful for this horse and everyone that has had a hand in this journey and just like the whole thing. Like, it was very emotional in the best way possible. So I ended up scratching from the hunters because about 6 weeks ago, it got time to really start like working on jumping and putting the jumps up. We've done like some 2-foot stuff. Sorry, let me go deal with her. So the Retired Racehorse Project jumping divisions all start at 2'6", and Anakin is only 4 years old. And about 6 weeks ago, it was like time to, if we're gonna show in the 2'6", we need to start upping the jumps at home. And I just had a lot to work on in my flat work as well, and this horse is so game. Like, he would jump a Grand Prix tomorrow if I asked him to, because he is just like that eager to please. But I just kind of thought, he is so young, and I have a really good 4-year-old, and I would like to have a great 5-year-old and 6-year-old and 7-year-old, whatever, and rushing him is just not what I need to do. So that's something I did learn this year, is like putting the horse before the horse show, and putting his long-term career, long-term goals, long-term health ahead of what I want right now. So we did not do the hunters. We went and we just did dressage, and I could not have been more happy. So I will include the videos. They're not super exciting. I mean, it is USDF training too. Like, it's basically just basic flat work. And I'll just kind of voice over a little bit while we watch those videos. And then I think at the end of this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about my thoughts on this whole experience, like top to bottom, and the organization, because I do kind of have a lot of thoughts on this. But let's go ahead and get into my rounds.
Here's number 101, Aaron.
Okay, so this was just me, like, dinking around on the outside of the ring. We actually got no arena familiarization time the day before because I screwed up and got my timing wrong and completely missed any chance to do the arena familiarization. So this was his first time even seeing this ring. And, like, he handled it like a complete and total pro. There were horses screaming and all kinds of noise and stuff happening around us, and he just, like, did not care. So right off the bat, I was immediately blown away. Like, in this moment, I was like, oh my God, he's amazing. I guess I could edit this down. Maybe you don't want to watch me just like walk laps around a dressage ring forever, but that's okay. You get to see them anyways. This was also his first dressage show. My big goals were to have flexion and self-carriage and to get my right lead. Like, that was it. If I could get those things, that would have made me the happiest person in the world, and you will see that I succeeded in those things. So training 3 starts with a halt on the center line, and at home I'd gotten really good at my my trot halt transitions, but I was quite frankly not paying any attention. Like, that could have been a lot crisper, and I've gotten them a lot crisper at home, but that's okay. I'm trying really hard not to be too critical of this because ultimately I'm so proud and I'll probably cry watching this again. So I think my big issue in one of my judges' comments, which I will read some of the judges' comments too after, sorry, you can hear my dog, after the whole test, was that I was way too prompt in my geometry. That was the word she used. Prompt in your geometry, which means I was way too early to all of my locations, but that's okay. He started to get a little distracted there. You can kind of look down the hill if you've ever shown in this ring at Kentucky Horse Park. You'll know what I'm talking about. And he was just like looking off into the hill a little bit and kind of talking to his friends, but that's okay. He really was super focused, all things considered. I expected him to be far spookier considering he had never been up here and there was a lot going on, but he was so good. And down this diagonal line, it does kind of make me laugh because I was having so much fun that I like fully forgot where I was going. And I'm about probably 4 feet to the right of where I should have been. And I realized right there, like, oh crap, I am not on the right track because I was just having too much fun. I was a little worried about this first canter here because I kind of thought he might take off a little bit, but he did not because he's perfect. Like, I know that watching dressage chess is not the most exciting thing in the world. However, you get to watch this one. Sorry about it. Overall, happy with this canter. Could have used a little bit more inside give, gotten his ribcage a tiny bit better. Ultimately, happy with that, whatever. So this was supposed to start right here, a stretchy trot. That didn't go well. I believe I got like a six on this stretchy trot, which was the lowest marks that we got because as you can see, there's no stretch. He's screaming down the hill, but that is perfectly fine. We can't get a stretchy trot after that canter at home anyways, so I wasn't really worried about it. And I also kind of forgot to really even ask for it. I was more so just trying to stay alive and have fun. So that was supposed to be done at the walk. He took a couple of trot steps because he was talking to his friends. Sorry if you can hear my dog scratching in the background. Fishy, stop scratching. Stop scratching. Sorry, I'm actually not going to edit that out. I'm sorry. You can hear me yell at her. This was supposed to be more of a free walk than it was. That was also something I was a little nervous about testing and like really taking a risk and letting my reins out because I wasn't sure if I would have steering if I let my reins out. So I didn't really push for the free walk as much as I should have. But again, that's okay. Little too early in that corner, and I'm also fully talking to him the entire time, which if you know dressage at all, you're really not supposed to do that. I didn't really care, whatever. I was telling him that he was beautiful and smart and brave, and it's fine. In like a real dressage ring, you're not supposed to do that. This is a training competition, and so they kind of didn't really mark down some of those things. We actually had more stretch in this trot than we did in our stretching trot. You can tell every time he looks down that hill, he starts to get distracted because he does like to see what's going on down there, but that's okay. This test is long to sit here and watch it all back. Again, this is nothing exciting to watch, but I literally don't care. Like, I'm so proud of this. Like, this horse, his effort, the ride, everything. The right lead canter comes out of this diagonal line at C, and I was kind of pooping my pants the entire time because I was really nervous about that right lead. If you've been on this channel, you're aware of the situation. So I was just trying to remind myself to breathe and whatever happens, happens. And it came up beautifully. Like, at this point, please know I was like literally crying, like actual tears out of my eyes because that was the one thing I wanted. And he gave it to me immediately. It was like he knew, and he was just like a 110% my partner in this moment. We're not balanced, kind of running, didn't really care. Usually he falls out of it really well. So I was kind of shocked in this moment that I had way more horse coming out of that than I expected. And I did eat that corner, but that's okay. Again, I could not have been more happy, and I wish you guys could see, like, I'm fully, in this moment, sobbing because that was the one thing that I wanted. So, halt could have been better, whatever, I literally do not care. So that was my test, and then we'll talk. So overall, this judge in our test said that we're on the right track with our training, and that I need to plan ahead more with my transitions and turns. So that's not a secret. I was very early. I was very prompt. I got a 7 for my gaits, freedom and regularity. She said I had correct paces, and I need to develop more freedom in my walk. I had no free walk. I got a 6.5 for impulsion. She said that I need to cover more ground, which I agree. I actually did feel like he felt very behind the leg, and I expected him to be like anxious and in front of it because that was kind of how he had been, and he was like very calm and very lazy, so that was unexpected for me. And the entire time I was writing my test, I was like, wow, I could use more horse, which is not really how he usually feels. I got a 6.5 for submission, so that is the willful cooperation, harmony, attention and confidence, acceptance of the bit. She said that he had inconsistent focus, which, yes, every time we looked down the hill, he screamed. I got a 7 for my seat and position. She said that I was balanced and quiet, which, amazing. Usually I have pretty offensive position. So we're all proud of my 7. And then my, rider correct and effective use of aids, I got a 6.5. She said better bend needed at times, which if you followed any of my like training videos, like my lesson raws, that's the one thing my trainer screams at me pretty consistently about. What else did she say? She said that he was started out braced and he got better. I could be steadier in my contact. She said that I got a bit downhill at times, and braced. Yeah, just a lot of me being either late to turn or early to turn, and that I was not really planning ahead. That's not a secret. So then after the actual test, you have a demo ride, and originally it was like a 5-minute demo, and you have to do all of your gaits on both leads and a halt. Or I'm not both leads, both sides, both directions, and a halt. I had grand plans of doing training 3. I had memorized training 3. We'd been running training 3 for a very long time, and I got into the ring and my brain turned to mush, and I was like, we're just vibing. So I will include that one next. Okay, also, sorry, the actual video's not super great. My friend set her phone down on just like a chair to record this because she was actually taking pictures on her camera, and I cared more about the pictures than I did the video. So like I said, we had grand plans of doing training 3. I walked in and I did the first like 30 seconds of what we had planned to do, and then it fell apart. So I wanted to cut that halt really far right so that I had enough time to get my working trot situated, because I did want to do those serpentines that training 3 has, if you know what I'm talking about, like the shallow loop serpentines at the working trot, which you'll see here. So this needed significantly more bend, and like I just needed a little bit more of a plan, but that's fine. At this point I was like on cloud 9, so the test comes first in the ring that was next to us, and I was so happy with everything and how it all went that I quite literally could not have cared less about this specific test. I was just having myself a grand old time. Like I said, sorry it cuts out the corner. You didn't miss anything exciting there. I really have minimal comments. This felt fine. Everything that I had wanted to accomplish, I accomplished in the other ring, so I was just like having me a good old time, and I had no thoughts in my brain anymore because my plan went out the window, and I knew that I had to include a certain amount of things and that I could remember bits and pieces of the test we had talked about, but that was really it. So my biggest concern was making sure I got everything needed in the 5 minutes that I had. I think I crossed center line here. I got some really lovely pictures crossing center line here. And again, my geometry, not good. The nice part is the judges don't know what you're planning on doing, so I was just kind of making things up as I went. So that worked out fine for me. We did practice this specific transition so many times at home, so that was supposed to be a shallow loop. It was very large looped, but that serpentine off of that diagonal into the right lead canter. So that was the plan. He did throw the left lead. You Spanksy, I'm sorry, my dog is being annoying. And I was like, we're just gonna circle, I'm not gonna let it bother me, whatever. The judges don't know your plan. So for all they know, like, that was a spook, that was just like a miscommunication. I didn't need to canter there, so I didn't. We just kept on going. It was super subtle. Of course, it was like right in front of the judge, but we did fix it. We got the right lead. It did feel like garbage. Like, please know it felt like garbage. He almost broke there, and I didn't let him, so I was proud of myself. But he was very unbalanced and just kind of running out the side. But I didn't really care. I got it, and that was my priority. Again, I really don't have a lot of comments on this specific round. Everything I cared about was the test. This counts for much lower points. And I just knew I had to do a certain amount of things to, you know, be able to get an effective score all the way around. But we can keep watching it because why not? Sorry you can hear my dogs eating in the background. I could have muted that, but I don't want to. You can hear them all crying and eating. I really have enjoyed those like short diagonals. Really like those. I was supposed to be doing that at the trot, and I realized as I was doing it, like, oh, I think we planned for these short diagonals to be at the trot, but again, all plan was out the window, and I was trying desperately to remember what I had done at this point so that I knew where to go, because I didn't really remember what I needed at all, but that's okay. Really happy with how he felt in that corner. He got a touch heavy, but that's okay. He was so slow down this outside line, but it was like nice. It wasn't super behind the leg. Well, maybe a little bit. I most definitely could have ridden this better, but whatever. Like I said, everything I cared about happened in the test, and I was just kind of trying to get through it. And again, no thoughts in my brain anymore. I came to that corner way too early, but that's okay. Oh yeah, at this point I was like super bored. I was like, I don't know what to do anymore, and I need this timer to run out. Because they had seen everything that they needed to see of him off both sides. So they rang my bell, and I got to leave. So then I was like, okay, thank God. And we left on a loose rein. So that was that demo ride. So the comments on this test were, I actually got better remarks on this one pretty consistently. So I got a 7.2 for my rhythm. She said he was counterflexed on the right lead canter, which I did feel. I did know that. A 7.3 on relaxation and suppleness. Sorry, it's like really hard to read her handwriting. Whatever, I'm just gonna move on. 7.5 for connection. He did say that he had the occasional head tilt. 6.8 on impulsion, which I understand. 6.8 on straightness and bend. And a 7 on development of level of development. So overall, that was a 42.6. Sorry, I misspoke at the beginning of my video. That was out of 60. And she said that we were a pair with really good presence. She liked seeing us in the ring, and that to continue to develop my ability to initiate and maintain straightness throughout his entire body. And then at the end, she said, thank you for your ride. So overall, really, really happy with that. I don't really have much to say about that test. She did say that we had really good presence, which is kind of what happens when you roll up into the dressage ring. Can't speak English. When you roll up into the dressage ring with your show jumper coat on, but we did it, and it looked fine. I think the pictures looked cute. So yeah, that was that test. Overall, I'm really happy with my horse. I'm really happy with how I rode. The show itself, I've gone to the show in the past. This was my first time participating in this show. So a very, very brief recap for those of you who are not familiar is this show is for horses who have had 10 months or less of retraining since leaving the racetrack. So there's an eligibility date that they have to have raced on or before, or on or after that date to be eligible for that year's competition. And then you cannot start training them until, hi Olive, December 1st of the year before the competition. So it ends up being about 10 months of training. There are 10 disciplines, Western, English, like all of the things. And jumping height starts at 2.6. So I originally went into this with the expectation of like, really I was going to do the show hunters. I wanted to develop this horse as a show hunter and then maybe also do show jumping. That was my plan. Obviously didn't happen because like I said, I learned a lot and I realized that that's probably not in his best interest. I think in terms of a competition like this, it does really good things, and it definitely has increased the demand for retiring racehorses, and I really love that. If you know me at all, you know that I love myself an off-the-track thoroughbred. I've had a lot of them. I plan to have a lot more in the future. I do think the 10-month training platform with the heights in the divisions offered, like starting at 2.6, can push horses to be rushed. And I did think that was something that I saw a lot of. There were a lot of 4-year-olds. Is the dog peeing on the floor? Sorry. There were a lot of 4-year-olds jumping the 2.6. And originally, like, that was my plan. I'm not going to sit here and act like that wasn't my plan. I realized fairly quickly on that that was not the path that I was choosing in life, to jump a 4-year-old that height. There were a lot of people that were. I don't know this for a fact, but I do know that last year there was someone doing a 3-year-old in the 2.6, and like, I don't love that. I don't love that this competition allows those things to happen. There were a lot of horses there that you could tell were very rushed and had a lot of holes in their training, but there were a lot of horses there that were amazing and very well prepared and looked phenomenal. I would say it was probably a pretty 50-50 split. I had a really, really good time, and I learned a lot over the last 10 months, probably a lot more than I thought that I would have learned. But I don't know that it's something I would necessarily seek a horse out for to do again. So there are people that every year they seek out a string of RRP horses and do this competition every single year. I don't know that I would do that. I think that if the right horse, the right opportunity came along, I would do it. But I don't think this is going to be something that I like make a thing for me. Like I said, had a lot of fun. I don't have any intention of sourcing a horse for next year. I think it is a good organization. I do. I think it has a lot of really good aspects, and there's also a lot of things that I would love to change and see different. Got to meet a lot of really wonderful people who also love the breed as much as I do. And overall, I'm really happy with the experience. So I think that I would recommend this experience to people. I would definitely maybe not do it on a 4-year-old. Again, love my horse. Love him. He gave me his heart. But I do think maybe the timeline can be a little bit harder on some of the younger, less mature horses. But like I said, happy that I did it. I don't know. I'm just kind of rambling now. As for what's next, Anakin and I are just going to keep developing our partnership and developing himself. I had grand plans this year of jumping him a lot more, and he told me that he wasn't ready, and so we didn't. And so maybe this winter we're going to pick up the jumping a little bit more. He is pretty solidly can do like 2 foot. I realized this week that I have a lot of holes in his flat work. I would like to fill those holes first before we really start to move on into jumping. But going into his 5-year-old year, I think that he has really excellent potential for that kind of thing. So I'm looking forward to developing him through that. And now I think my plan is to turn him into my show jumper. So my ideal plan and like dream for this horse would be that by the time I graduate grad school, he could be my 1.20 meter jumper. I don't know if that's realistic. Those are my dreams. Those are my goals. So we're just going to keep kind of working towards that goal. Also kind of forgot how much I love dressage throughout this process, and I might contemplate chasing my USDF bronze. That was a goal of mine several years ago with my mare who died. And then when she died, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. But this week kind of did maybe inspire me that maybe I do want to get back to that. I don't know. I'm rambling. I had a wonderful time. I love this horse. I'm so glad that we did do this at the end of the day. I'm so glad that we did it. And I'm so grateful and appreciative of just like the entire process. So if you have any questions about my experience or the show or anything like the organization, I would love to talk more about it. But for now, I'm going to stop running my mouth because I do that a lot. If you made it this far, I'm glad you're here, and I'm excited to just keep developing this horse and see what's next. Thanks. Bye.